Good evening and welcome to TBC News, broadcasting to you live from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. This is TBC News. Our top stories tonight. President Dr. Samia hints at adding new ministries. World awaits as French president visits Africa. Good evening once again. I am Agnes Tuniga. You can also follow us live via YouTube channel TBConline and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook and Twitter pages at TBConline. President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan has appointed Dr. Said Ali Mohamed to be the Executive Secretary of the National Examination Council of Tanzania, NECTA. Before the appointment, Dr. Mohamed was the Director of Teaching, Learning and Examination Services at Open University of Tanzania. The appointment started on February 23, 2023. Meanwhile, President Dr. Samia has administered the Oath of Integrity to the newly appointed government leaders earlier today at the Chamwino State House in Dodoma. She insisted all government leaders ought to work with discipline and a team to foster desired economic changes to the nation. Furthermore, Dr. Samia has said that she intends to create new ministries that will be under the office of the president, explaining that the new dockets will be related to the Treasury, Registrar, Planning and Investment Commission.
Ngazi iliyopata mabadiliko makubwa ni ngazi ya makatibu wakuu.
We have seen people asking, there is a permanent secretary for investments, why doesn't he have a minister? We have introduced the permanent secretary to help us organize what we want. We want 3 important areas to return under the office of the president. When we finish the legislation processes, they'll become full ministries. But for now, we are bringing in the Treasury Registrar, the Planning and Investment Commission.
The French President Emmanuel Macron expects to outline new French policy for Africa as he begins his 4-day working visit to Africa. Macron is to visit Gabon for an environmental summit, followed by Angola, then the Republic of Congo or Congo-Brazzaville, and finally the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo. This visit comes at a time when France is trying to fight the influence of Russia and China, which is increasing in Africa last month. Burkina Faso gave France 1 month to withdraw its 400 Special Forces troops in line with the conclusion of military cooperation. In Mali, French forces withdrew after the military government established relations with the private Russian military group Wagner. To discuss further about his visit, we are joined by Paternus Niyegira, who is local and international political analyst. My guest, please welcome here on the studio.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Just to begin talking about this visit of the President of France, of course, the French President Emmanuel Macron here within African countries. Why this visit at the moment, and what is the significance of this visit?
First of all, President Macron wants to be the first president, French president actually, to change the French colonial policy, which has been in Africa. Now, most of the French colonies in Africa had been on the policy of assimilation policy, where they were much assimilating the people in Africa to be a part of French. Now, he wants to come up with a soft strategy. And today in his speech, actually, when he was speaking the strategy for African relations, he spoke that the military concept is going to change. You mean you're talking about the new strategy in Africa, the new policy that he's trying to come up with? Yes, the new policy actually has already delivered what he wants to do in Africa and in those 4 countries. But also it has been followed by, first of all, Gabon. In Gabon, actually, there will be an environmental summit on forest. Actually, 80% of the surface land is rainforest. So, and it has been, statistics are quite clear, 140 million tons of CO2 is being absorbed yearly in Gabon. So it is a strategy.
For the environmental purposes.
For environmental purposes.
Which is being supported by France.
Yes, which is being supported by the French. That's number one. So it's trying to soften the environment, it's trying actually to boost the bilateral relations, trying to have a win-win kind of relationship with the African countries. In his address actually today, he never much spoke of Russia or Ukraine. He much concerned with how actually the French can benefit and can have a win-win, a cooperative, a balanced kind of a relationship, which has not been there since.
To be precise, what are the areas of focus that you think Africa is going to benefit with this visit? Especially for the 4 countries that he's to visit. To begin with the Gabon, it is the issue of environment, and he's actually trying to see what they can benefit from the conserving the forest. And as I've said, Gabon is the 2nd largest actually in having a lot of forest, rainforest. Africa in the worldwide actually. In Africa becomes, I think, the first, and then it comes into after Amazon it comes Gabon. That's number 1. In Angola, it was not a former colony, the Portuguese colony. So in Angola, they're having issues on agriculture. They had a training on last year on agriculture before the war in Ukraine, being a part and parcel actually of softening and improving their bilateral relations with non-French-speaking countries and English-speaking countries. That is Angola. Now, when you go to Congo-Brazzaville, of course, Congo-Brazzaville is the heart of the French colony. It has been a French colony since. And they are much speaking of cultural ties, speaking issues of culture. And when you speak of culture, you are speaking the total way of life of the people. So they are going to have a way you give, I give kind of relations. That is in Congo-Brazzaville. And DRC issues on security has been spoken, the issue of earth, the issue of agriculture, and the issue of culture also. Those are the areas they are going to speak. But also, it gives questions that in Angola, speaking of agriculture, but you know, Angola is the first oil producing country. And so issues of energy will be brought into question. I know, though yes, it's not spoken in his address about the whole concept of how it's going actually to boost the relations among those nations. That's the number 1. Number 2, which has not been spoken, is the issue of Rwanda. He actually was asked this question and he never answered it. He said, no, we are going to sit with the partners and see the issue of defense and security among the 2 countries. And you know, DRC Congo is the former French, it was not a former French colony. It was colonized by the Belgians, but they have been in talks since this crisis began. Reports say that Paris is to counter the influence of the Russians and Chinese within the region. What is your take on that? Yes, it's going to counter the influence of Chinese and Russia, and you could see it has come at the appropriate time when you see the Ouagadougou spoke in 2017, had a serious discussion that they are changing, and you can see the way they are using it, the way they are coming in is different from how it was before. Today they are speaking of good bilateral relations, good diplomatic relations, and they have said actually the presence of military is not going to withdraw, but is going to have a 50-50 kind of balance. And he's saying that it will not be visible, much visible, but it will be between academies vis-a-vis military. So there will be a lot of training and sharing of intelligence reports and such things, which has not been since previous. Paternus, I thank you so much for your time this evening. You're welcome. Thank you. Minister for Finance and Planning, Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba, has met and held talks with ambassadors of Canada and Japan at different occasions, focusing on cooperation issues between the countries, especially in areas of agriculture, livestock, fishing, and the private sector. Nasa Kingu reports.
Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba met both ambassadors at the Ministry of Finance and Planning in Dar es Salaam. Dr. Nchemba thanked the Canadian ambassador to Tanzania, Kyle Nunes, and his government for providing funds amounting to 87.3 million Canadian dollars for the health sector and a new commitment to provide 75 million Canadian dollars for the period of 2021 to 2026, aiming at improving the health sector. On his part, the Japanese ambassador to Tanzania, Yaushi Misawa, assures Tanzanian government that Tanzania will be part of the countries that will benefit from the program that has been announced by Japan worth $30 million to help African countries revive their economies most affected by COVID-19, drought, and the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. Furthermore, Ambassador Misawa congratulated the President, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, and the Minister for Finance and Planning for managing economic issues despite a number of setbacks facing the world right now.
Tanzania Railway Corporation Director General Masanja Kadogosa says the contractor who oversees the construction of the modern SGR railway from Mwanza to Isaka has already been paid for the implementation of the project amounting to 500 billion shillings. Here is the report prepared by Pascal Michael, read in the studio.
Kadogosa made the remarks when clarifying the progress of the construction of the modern railway in Malampaka to members of the CCM political committee in Simiyu region who visited the project.
The progress is going well, and we believe that we will finish on time. The contractor was paid all his money. He still had to deliver his work. The contractor was paid 500 billion Tanzanian shillings.
Tunazungumzia almost karibu bilioni 500. Mkandarasi alishalipwa.
Furthermore, Kadogosa explains the success of 2 years of President Samia Suluhu Hassan in the construction of the railway.
Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan alipoingia madarakani alikuta tunajenga vipande viwili.
When President Samia came into power, we are constructing 2 routes. That is Dar es Salaam to Morogoro route and the Morogoro to Makutupora route. And they were complete by 61%. And as we speak, the Tabora to Kigoma route has a constructor working on it. So as we commemorate 2 years of President Samia Suluhu Hassan, she has added 4 more routes of the SGR construction.
The Simiyu Regional Commissioner, Dr. Yahaya Nawanda, gives a warning to those who squander or steal government's funds.
The civilians should make sure that they do not commit any crimes against the SGR construction exercise. They should show complete cooperation in this construction site, and all those civilians who would go against these instructions shall be dealt with accordingly.
The members of the political committee of CCM in Simiyu region, led by the member of the Central Council of CCM Simiyu region, Gungu Silanga, are delighted with the implementation of the project.
In a big construction project like this, it is good to get the funds on time.
From the bottom of my heart, I say the work that has been done is good.
Once this construction is done, we'll solve all the problems here to a great extent.
Dar es Salaam residents are delighted with the completion of this construction of the 3rd phase of the Bus Rapid Transit BRT from Gerezani to Gongo la Mboto. The Minister of Works and Transport, Professor Makame Mbarawa, has assured that the residents that the construction will be completed by March next year. Here is the report by John Matthias, read by Apasia Rengo.
It has been several months since the construction of the 3rd phase of the Dar es Salaam Bus Rapid Transit BRT from Gerezani to Gongo la Mboto started, and today TBC News is here to eyewitness the progress of the construction.
Before the construction of this road, the situation was very bad. We used to be stuck on the road for even 2 hours in that traffic. The situation was very difficult.
Here some of the Dar es Salaam residents talk about how the situation was before the construction began.
We are so happy because the issue of transport will not be a problem anymore. People living at Gongolamboto and Echanika will no longer face transport problems.
The residents are delighted with the speed of the completion of the Gerezani to Gongolamboto phase.
We shall have 4 ways in total. There will also be internal and external types of bus stations. These constructions will reduce traffic jam and make transport easier.
The Minister of Works and Transport, Professor Makame Mbarawa, is here to inspect the progress of the construction and is received by the Tanzania National Roads Agency Town Roads Manager.
These constructions will be complete by March next year. Before the general election, these constructions will be done. We are soon going to finish the BRT2 road, and by now it is almost done. And once BRT 1, 2, and 3 are done, we shall continue with the BRT4.
Professor Mbarawa took the opportunity to assure the Dar es Salaam residents that the construction will be completed in March next year.
I urge TANROADS to work diligently as the contractor states. Secondly, I would like to tell the contractor that BRT2 initially didn't start well, but BRT3 has kicked off very good. We are asking you to continue doing it well.
He directs the contractors to complete the construction project on time.
More than 47,000 residents in Magu district in Mwanza region are expected to benefit with the completion of the Bugando Chabula and Nyang'anga Iseni water projects. The Rural Water Supply and Sanitation Agency RUWASA Acting Manager Magu District Engineer Nestori Matogwa says the projects are implemented by the government at cost of 6.8 billion shillings, will start providing services between March and April this year. Here's the report by Moses Matthew, read by Faida Ngaga.
The Bugando Chabula water project in Magu district, Mwanza region, which involves the construction of a tank with a capacity of 250,000 liters, the construction of 31 water extraction stations, and the laying of pipes with a length of 30 kilometers, has reached 80%.
Kwa ujumla wake mradi umeshafikia 80% ndio tulionao sasa hivi.
General, the project has reached 80%. We only lack electricity. As it is, we are counting on the electricity supply at the end of this month so that we can install our pumps and we will start testing them by March.
Ili mwezi wa 3 tuanze test maji.
The project, which costs the government 1.7 billion shillings, is implemented in cooperation between RUWASA and RUWASA.
Pumps and pipes are available, but we are lacking electricity. This is the only challenge we have because its availability will help to pump water to the villages where we have finished distribution.
16,000 residents of the Bugando, Chabula, Nyashigwe and Kongolo villages are expected to benefit from the project.
This project is important to RUWASA in the sense of increasing the number of people who use clean and safe water in rural areas. Currently, in Magu district, we have reached 75%. Therefore, until 2025, these projects and others that are still in progress will have reached the goal of CCM noticed by 85%.
The government, through the Rural Water and Sanitation Agency, RUWASA, Magu district continues with the expansion of the Magu Water Project. The project, which has reached 75% and is intended to eliminate water problems for 31,900 residents.
Mradi wetu umefikia 75% ya utekelezaji.
Our project has reached 75% of its implementation. We have distributed 70% of the fences so far, and we have built all 42 DPs. Also, we have reached 98% of the tanks, and all that is left is covering them.
Imebaki tu kufunika tu kumwaga zege, maana tumeshasuka nondo.
The Nyang'anga Iseni water project is expected to be completed by the end of April this year and costs 5.1 billion shillings.
We will extend the time for the contractor due to the lack of pumps and water. We expect by the end of April this project will be completed and the people will be getting clean and safe water.
And that is the end of local news. International news is up next. And here is the international news brought to you by Ahmad Salom.
Provisional results announced by state election officials show that Nigeria's opposition presidential candidate Peter Obi has narrowly defeated the ruling party's Bola Tinubu in his heartland of Lagos State. Mr. Obi won 582,454 votes compared to Mr. Tinubu's 572,606 votes. The official results will be announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) at its headquarters in the capital Abuja. Lagos is the commercial hub of Nigeria, and Mr. Tinubu was once its governor. Egyptian Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry has arrived in Damascus in what is the first visit by a top Egyptian envoy to Syria since its civil war began in 2011, and another sign of possible warming ties between President Bashar al-Assad and Arab states. According to the Syrian state news agency SANA, Shoukry was received by his Syrian counterpart Faisal Mekdad. Al-Assad has benefited from outpouring of Arab support for Syria since February 6 earthquake that killed more than 50,000 people in Syria and in neighboring Turkey. Earlier this month, Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi spoke with al-Assad by phone for the first time on February 7. At least 59 migrants, including 12 children, have died, and dozens more are feared missing after their boat sank in rough seas of southern Italy. The vessel broke apart while trying to land near Croton on Sunday. Migrants from Afghanistan, Pakistan, Somalia, and Iran were on board. Italian officials said a baby was among the dead. Interior Minister Matteo Piantedosi, who visited the scene, said as many as 30 people may still be missing. Bodies were recovered from the beach at a nearby seaside resort in the Calabria region. The Coast Guard said 80 people had been found alive, including some who managed to reach the shore after sinking. A magnitude of 5.6 earthquake has hit eastern Turkey, killing at least one person and wounding dozens, while causing some damaged buildings to collapse. Turkey's disaster management agency, AFAD, has said the latest quake was centered in the town of Yesliyurt in Malatya province, adding that one person was killed when a factory collapsed in Kahramanmaraş, the province of the magnitude 7.8 earthquake that hit the region on February 6, and 69 others were injured. Mayor of Yesliyurt, Mehmet Sina, told a local television that a number of buildings in the town collapsed, including a 4-story building where a father and daughter were trapped. Sina said the pair had entered the damaged building to collect belongings. And the United Kingdom and the European Union (EU) have struck a new post-Brexit deal aimed at resolving their long-running trade dispute over Northern Ireland. Sources from EU and UK government have confirmed that the agreement came after high-level talks on Monday in Windsor, England, between British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. Deals seek to resolve tensions caused by the 2020 post-Brexit arrangements governing Northern Ireland, a British province, and its open border with EU member state Ireland.
And that was international news. Sports news is up next. In sports news, film artists in Iringa region, also known as Bongo Movie, have expressed their satisfaction with the appointment of the popular Bongo Flava musician Hamisi Mwinjuma, aka Mwanaefe, as the Deputy Minister of Culture, Arts and Sports, saying they believe that he will boost the art industry in the country. Mwanaefe was appointed Deputy Minister of the Ministry and was sworn in today at the State House. Irene Mwakalinga has more details.
The chairman of the Association of Artists in Iringa Municipality, Kisumu Dunia, said that the position is a proper fit for Mwana FA, who is also the member of parliament for Muheza constituents. Speaking in an interview with TBC News, the artists have said that Mwana FA has a lot of experience in art and know the challenges facing the artists.
Naona kabisa kwamba sanaa yetu sasa.
I can see that the arts industry is going to flourish. First of all, Mwana FA is a regional artist, and he is well aware of the challenges that the industry faces. I think the art industry has gotten the right person.
Mtu sahihi na mtu makini.
Nimefurahi sana mama kaupiga mwingi kwa sababu sasa hivi tunazungumziwa mazuri.
I am so happy. President Samia is doing a great job. Artists are now given more priority.
Wasanii wote kwa Bongo Flava, comedian, waigizaji wote tutapewa kipaumbele cha kwenda kuwachekesha hata wabunge.
What are the challenges of artists?
Miundombinu ya kuweza kupushi kazi zetu. Nilikuwa nategemea sasa.
I urge the government to add more platform for us to sell our works.
Kuna vile vyombo vingi vya kuuza kazi zetu.
Earlier, the chairman of Association of the Bongo Movie Artists in Iringa Municipality officially introduced Lilian Bedule as the guardian of the artists, who promised to cooperate with them while challenging them to start or join entrepreneurial groups to improve their living standards.
Yani cha kwanza kabla tunapoingia kwenye sanaa, nitapenda baadhi ya wengine.
I wish for artists to learn business skills. I believe in arts, and I will never let you down. I want Iringa to flourish.
Iringa ipae.
Irene Mwakalinga, TBC, Iringa.
Well, dear viewers, with that item of sports news, we have come to the end of our news bulletin for tonight. I've been your host, Agnes Tuniga. Thank you very much for being with us. Good night.